How would you describe your relationship with money in one word?
I'd say relaxed. And I was looking and it was like Disney. I have not watched it for 4 years and I've been subscribing every month. You are scrolling and it is just everything is like an advert basically.
Your capitalism's dream.
I know, and I'm like, I'm an anti-capitalist, I'm a socialist. But before I say anything, I'm like, I know I'm not like sort of not to talk about money, but in my head it's like, how much will I be paid for this job? I can't say it. I actually have like a physical feeling when I open the app. Secondary school was 100% like, you have to have the latest of this, you have to the latest of that. If you said the wrong thing and it seemed like you were bragging, that was it, like you were disliked. Had I not grown up with so much noise around having to look right, I wouldn't spend as much on it now.
What is the one golden piece of advice that you would give to someone else?
It's something I'm still trying to strike, is the balance between...
So Poppy, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. We're here, we made it. I've given everyone a list of things to introduce themselves with. Can you just run through yours, please?
Yep. So my name's Poppy Lindsay. I am age 23. Living situation, I am currently living with my parents until literally a few days' time when I'm moving out and I'm renting in London. My job / industry is I'm a journalist, so I'm a broadcast journalist at the moment. My salary, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think I managed to get through with it. Dependents, I have no dependents. Yeah, I'm just out for myself.
Lovely stuff. to put it crudely. Right, I'm going to hit you with a big one first then, Poppy.
Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship with money in one word?
Okay.
It is tough.
Yeah. I'd say relaxed.
Relaxed?
Yeah, but maybe too relaxed. I know that's 2 words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why too relaxed?
I think because I come from, like I will say off the bat, like I'm privileged. I have never had to really, I've never got to like the end of my bank account and been like, I need to pay bills. And I think I've always just been like, it'll come back. I think I do get anxious around like, you know, oh my God, I could just run out of money. And that I'm not a big purchase maker, but I am just very like, oh, you know, money comes back, memories don't, sort of thing, which is fine up until now. And like I said, I'm going to start renting and I've actually got to pay rent and bills and council tax and things like that, which up until now hasn't really been a factor.
Can you be too relaxed renting in London?
No, and this is the issue, is that I'm going to have to change my outlook, I think, on... I think the thing is, like I said, I don't make big purchases, but it's constant small purchases that I'm like, I deserve it. Like it's been a hard day or something. And then you look at how much it cost you in a month and I'm like, that can't happen when I'm renting in London because it's, you know, I'm splitting the rent with my partner. So essentially it's not going to be as expensive as someone who might be living on their own, but it's compared to what I'm paying now when I pay my parents a little bit of rent for living in their house. Plus it's bills and I've only ever really, apart from university, where money is just like monopoly money, it just doesn't feel real. Again, said from like a very privileged background of like, it's just a loan, whatever. But apart from then, all my places I've lived have been bills included. Then I've lived with my parents. I've just set up bills and I'm like, they are so expensive. Like water, I'm like, it's a human right.
Don't get me started.
I know. So things like that, I'm going to have to start being more conscious, I think, rather than just like, oh, it's just £2 here, £5 there, sort of thing.
Yeah, and like you say, especially in London, those Prets will take your money away.
Oh, I bought a bottle of water the other day, £4.50. And like I say, water. I'm like, God, this country.
Water.
But yeah, and also I downloaded an app the other day because I was like, I need to get my finances in order. And it links to your bank account and shows you basically what you're spending most of your money on. And it was sickening. Like it was, because it's not things. So my main expense was trains because my boyfriend currently lives in London. So I go back and forth. That's fine. That's essential really. Then it's Sainsbury's and Tesco, where my parents, from some of the rent I pay, do the food shop. So what am I spending in Tesco and Sainsbury's and things? It's like £500 in like a year. And I'm like, but I don't do the food shop. So it's things like that. But I'm like, it's the £5 every day that, and like you say, the Prets, when I feel like treat yourself, don't in London.
It's going to stack up.
Yeah.
It's going to stack up. And as you mentioned, you're obviously moving in. with your partner for the first time,
Yes.
which is exciting,
Yes.
but it's going to be challenging because of all the money things that come with living together. How are you sort of feeling going into it?
Yeah, it is. I think because since we've been together for about a few years now, and there's never really been a time where we've had to sit down and discuss money. And it always feels a bit like, oh, I don't want to feel like I'm sort of cheating them out of money. But with us, he is going to be doing a full-time job where he earns, a good amount for living in London. He's very comfortable in what he earns now and lives in London. I'm going to be going self-employed. And going to be a part-time student. So we kind of had to have the discussion around like, do we pay equal rent? Do we, that, and just sitting down and having that discussion was like, oh no, like, how do we, no one wanted to offend each other. I think that was the thing. And we're both quite people-pleasing people. So it was like, I'll definitely pay more if you want. And no, I will. And it's that dancing around it a bit. So I think I'm glad that we've communicated about it before we move in and we've sorted it all, and he's a bit into his numbers and things, so he has made a spreadsheet and a budget, and that's his job. But so I'm glad that it's been spoken about before we moved in, but it was definitely nerve-wracking about kind of where we go with bills and splitting things.
One of my good friends recently introduced me to something he does with his wife. He's gone through a bit of his own sort of money journey himself. He's been in debt, he's come back from the debt and everything. They do a monthly money meeting.
Okay.
Which I've taken on.
Yeah.
As a result. I am married to an accountant, so that does
okay,
make things a bit easier. She's done the spreadsheet, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm in the same sort of position.
Yeah.
How much sort of before this would you have money conversations with your partner? Was it just, is this the first one you've had?
Yeah, pretty much the first one. So, I mean, there would be times when I'd be like, oh, I've spent too much because I bought too many clothes and things. And it would always be very jokey. And it would be, and there were times when we would both say, oh, I'm running out of money. But I think because it didn't impact each other, it was like, he's living his own life. That's his income, whatever. And yeah, I think it's always just been very jokey. We've never had like a sit down, actually, this is serious money now. Like, and I think there's also an element of trust. It's like, okay, we've been together a few years, but when I was sending over like my money for the deposit, I was like, oh my God, like, what if he just spends it all? Like, I know he won't do that, and he didn't do that. But it is that thing of like, okay, I'm trusting someone else with my money. They're trusting me to make sure I can pay my rent and things like that. So yeah, we hadn't really before.
So was it, I mean, how would you describe that first money conversation? Was it horrible? Was it,
yeah,
did you not want to be there? Do you think you'll be comfortable with the next one?
Yeah, I think it was that thing of me just being like, I know that my money situation come around September is going to be a bit precarious for a while because I'm picking up freelance shifts and I've got to like establish that relationship with different companies and things, and that will take a while. And so I had my own worries about just generally, can I afford to live in London? And he knew that I was a bit worried about that. And he came straight out with like, I will pay more rent, which made it easier. But then I was like, oh, I feel so guilty. And I was like, no. Like, and my mum was actually there when we first sort of had this serious conversation.
Ooh.
Yeah. And, she gets on very well with my partner and things. And we're quite close talking about these things. But she said that when she was younger, she had a relationship where someone she was with, she supported him when he was going through university, and then they split up and she felt really, sort of resentful around it. And she was like saying to my partner, sort of, make sure you're really comfortable with that decision, paying more rent. And I think I had a lot of guilt around it, and I was like, no, I should just be paying equal. And I think he was fairly comfortable. I think it wasn't horrendous, but it was a very new thing. And I think the next conversation, I think it'll be fine. I think I'm just worried that like I'm not going to be, I think it's more that if one of us starts to, earn more than we thought or earn less than we thought, how do we approach that and not have the feelings of sort of embarrassment and like resentment towards the other person and kind of the emotions that come into it.
How mad is it that it's that awkward?
I know.
Right? It's numbers. It's not, there's nothing, there shouldn't be anything emotionally attached to it, right? It's figures. If you're a logical thinker, you go, well, I earn this much, you earn this much. let's put it down to a percentage and that's how we get through life. But do you find it insane that it's kind of that emotive, I guess?
I know, we put our worth on it. It's a huge, and I think particularly in London, we're going to be living quite near, sort of in between the city and Canary Wharf. So you come across these sort of bankers and people who you look at them and you're like, your whole life has revolved around money, and, you know, fair play to them, they've got great jobs. But I think living in that environment, and my partner works at a sort of corporate place, and it's very like, what do you earn? You know, how do I get promoted? How do I move up? And it's just like, you're fine if you stay on the same salary and you are making it work and you're comfortable with that and you live fine, whatever. And it is such a, you feel like you haven't achieved if you're earning a bit less than you were before, or, you know, I don't know, for me, it's like, am I happy? Like, am I earning enough to live? Obviously, but am I doing something that I'm happy with? Fine. But yeah, I think we become so like embarrassed around money. And I think there's a lot of fear around like offending people. Yeah.
And it's interesting you mentioned about your mum sort of chipping in on the conversation. Don't know how much you enjoyed that, but obviously up until now, your sort of main money has gone to your parents for rent and things, right? How many sort of conversations have you had with your parents, your mum and dad, about money?
I found that harder, I think, actually. So I went to university and I basically lived away from home about 4.5, 5 years, but came back for a job that I had in Southampton, which is where my parents live. And for a while I didn't have a job, I was unemployed, and they didn't charge me rent, and it was like, just find something, whatever. As soon as I got a job, it was like, I think it's hard because I know a lot of my friends don't pay rent to their parents, or they pay less, or they pay more. And I was like, I don't know, part of me was like, oh, why do I have to pay rent in my own home? But actually I'm earning money. So we sat down and had a conversation, like, how much will you pay? Maybe even while I hadn't got the job in journalism, they were like, maybe you should get a part-time job, sort of bring something in. And I found it sort of really, I was like, oh no, like they think I'm not doing enough and I'm not contributing. And I did find that hard at the start. And I think around generally with my parents, they do speak about money. I wouldn't say, I don't think I've ever really known what they earn. I think, you know, from people's jobs, sort of, they earn this amount, we're comfortable, whatever. But there's never been much discussion around like, oh, we're really low on money, or we've got this, we've got that. Which again, it's a sort of privileged position that we've never really had to speak about it, and everything's just always been there.
But you don't know the ins and outs? Not
really. I mean, recently I had to do a guarantor form for my flat because my dad's going to be my guarantor, and he had to put his income, and I was like, I had no idea sort of in any sort of what bracket or anything. And I know, I've always known like sort of my parents used to do the same job, and then my mum changed career completely, and now is sort of happier but earns less, and my dad has stayed in the job and earns more. I've always known that. But yeah, not ever known sort of the actual figures, and I guess whether they're low or how much sort of what the status is at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. Like, I've never known any salaries at like my parents, like my dad, my stepdad, my mum, any of them. And it's one of those weird things because, like you say, it's if you've been in a position where you've just grown up and everything's been there, they could have been struggling for years, right? You'd never have known.
Yeah.
You talked about an app when we started, and I kind of wanted to talk about apps, specifically banking apps. When I think back to when I was probably in my early 20s, same age as you, my relationship with my bank account was, I didn't want to have a relationship with my bank account. Yeah. I was just not looking at it, hoping for the best.
100%.
If the overdraft kicked in, it kicked in. Today, I'm looking at it every single day.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that kind of relationship with your banking app?
Yeah, literally in the last sort of month or so, I've been like, okay, I need to face my fears. So, because when I was at uni, I had an overdraft, and I think it's good that I did, but I was fine until it went into the minus numbers, and then I couldn't open the app. Like, I just didn't open it until I got my next student loan. As soon as I had a job and I had sort of regular income, I was like, okay, I'll look at it when I've been paid. By the end of the month, I won't look at it. And I actually have like a physical feeling when I open the app. It's like,
still now,
what's it going to say? Yeah. And it's predicting in my head, like, or is it, you know, I think it'll probably be at like this
Trying
number.
to Mystic Meg it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to like help myself. And I'm like, it's fine if it's this number. And I have no idea, which is why I then downloaded an app, which, you know, it tells you every day. You get a notification saying this is how much is in your account, which at first I was like, don't tell me that in the morning. I've just woken up. I don't need to see the figures that are in there. But actually, it's now like, you know, whether I look at it or not, that is the number in there. So
You're accepting.
Yeah, I'm like, it's fine. It will go up, it will go down, you know, as long as I can pay for things, we're fine. But it has helped. It also shows you like which bills you're paying out, which obviously things like water, electricity, but I am so bad for subscribing to things and not remembering I've subscribed. I would subscribe.
Your capitalism's dream.
I know. And I'm like, I'm an anti-capitalist, I'm a socialist. When was it?
What have you subscribed to? Go through the list.
So, well, the worst one I've had, and I did nip this in the bud after about 2 years, I subscribed for Disney Plus, which, because I wanted to watch one film on it, I wanted to watch Hamilton. Great. But I subscribed for that in like 2021.
Wow.
Did not watch anything else. Got to 2020, no, it's probably about 3 years, 2024. And I was like, where is this? I don't know. It was like $12.99 a month. Where is this money going? Like, and I was looking and it was like, Disney. I have not watched it for 4 years and I've been subscribing every month, paying $12.99. So I managed to end that. But even I put off sort of like, oh, I've got to go on and like unsubscribe. It's like, that is 13 quid a month. Like, things like, it's my sort of lack of attention, basically. I thought I'd left a political party and I was paying money to them. And turns out I hadn't filled the last form out and I have just been paying money to a party that I'm not part of.
Oh.
Things like, what was the other one? Oh, Amazon Prime. I've been paying for it. I didn't realise I've been paying for it. I've been using my mum's account. So I've been paying for Amazon Prime on 2 accounts, which I didn't have the password to. So I had to ring up Amazon customer services and be like, can you close the account? Because I didn't even know the password. It was on an old email address. I've been paying, and that's £9 a month, and I've been paying on 2 accounts that I didn't even know I had.
This is what they're banking on, though, if you pardon the pun.
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah.
You know, they're banking on, like say, forgetting.
Yeah.
And then not being asked to
Yeah,
then
because they make it
unsubscribe.
so hard sometimes, and you're like, oh, like luckily the person I spoke to, customer services, great, and actually I thought that's going to be a right faff. It was fine, and I felt so relieved. I was like, hey, I'm saving myself so much money, and it's things like gym memberships, which I do go to the gym, and I make sure I do now. But there's been times where I have been paying, 30 quid a month, and I go like twice a month, and it's like, I can't.
£15 a visit, that is.
Yeah, and I would never pay that if they said, oh, you have to pay every time you go, it's 15 quid. Never.
No.
But it's when it's rolling and it just coming out, and then again, when you don't look at your bank account, you don't see it come out. So yes, it was a bit of a wake up call, but I'm now like, okay, I know what I'm paying, I know what's coming out. I will not sign up to things that I don't want anymore.
Well, interestingly, one of the questions I've got here is, what is your biggest money regret? Is it one of those subscriptions? Is it something bigger or more significant?
Yeah, I think the Disney Plus was awful. That was so annoying, because I was like, I would have used it if I knew I had it. Anyway, that was annoying. I think it's not necessarily one regret, but I buy things, particularly clothes. My issue is clothes. And I buy them and don't like them and then don't return them.
Right.
And I know some people I've seen on social media, like they have like a whole wardrobe full of stuff that is in the packaging. I'm not like that. But the feeling of regret when I do that is so annoying. Like, I've been clearing out my stuff for when I move, and I'm seeing all these clothes that I'm like, they're in the packaging ready to go to the post office and they haven't gone back. And the regret and like the shame that I feel about it, because I'm like, that wasn't easy. Like, you could just get like 30 quid back. Like, that was so easy. And it's buying things that, particularly with clothes, I'm like, this is so in at the moment, and I buy it and I wear it once, and then I look at it and I'm like, I didn't need to buy that. And I get carried away. It's things like bags and clothes. It's so like stereotypical, but it's I set my heart on one thing. I just have to get it. And then I think I didn't need it that much.
What do you think it is that makes you want it that badly? Like you say, you need to have it.
I mean, interestingly, I was thinking about this because I'm doing it and I'm like, what is the issue here? I do think a lot of it is, when I was growing up, I went to an all-girls school, secondary school, and teenage girls, we grow up and there's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise around. You should be wearing this. You should be looking like this. And secondary school was 100% like, you have to have the latest of this, you have to latest of that. And I didn't always, I wasn't a huge like, oh, I'm going to get that as soon as everyone else has. But I was definitely like, I need to keep up and I need to look right and I need to be wearing the right things to fit in. And I think that's just carried on, but more subconsciously. I think it's like, it's now sort of, I only feel right if I have spent loads of money on something and it fits the right vibe and it's like what I want to look like on that day. And I'll spend loads of money like on my hair at the moment. I'm having it redone soon, but like stuff sort of like it's about what I look like. And I think I don't actually regret spending money on that, but I do think had I not grown up with so much noise around having to look right, I wouldn't spend as much on it now.
It's interesting that things like that, habits from school, transfer.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a while since school now for you.
Yeah. I know. And I think social media really doesn't help. And particularly TikTok is like, there is a new trend every week. And I've definitely got more wise to like, you know, you do not. And in terms of like consumption as well, like the environment, I need to stop just sort of buying and buying. But it is hard when you are scrolling and it is just everything is like an advert basically. And you just think, oh, this is, you know, this, and I fall for it. And it's like, this will make you have no spots or you will have, you know, glowing skin. And I'm like, oh, I'd like those things. And you just fall for it. And that is, I think, social media. And you're still seeing the people from school that you sort of idolized a bit, that you would never admit, but you were looking at them at school like, I want to look like that. And you still see them now on social media. And you're like, there is still that sort of younger part of you that's like, if I spend enough money, I can look like them. Yeah.
Let's go to the restaurant, Poppy.
Okay.
You've gone with some friends. The bill arrives.
Yeah.
Normally there's one of two people at this stage. The let's just split it equally.
Yeah.
And the let's get my calculator out and work out what I've got. Which one are you?
I'm split it, but inside I want to get the calculator out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So is this people pleasing like you were mentioning earlier?
It is people pleasing. I mean, it depends. I think if we've all pretty much bought the same thing and we're just sort of, and it's really close friends and you're like, whatever, split it, fine. But sometimes you just notice that one person's bought something that's really expensive, or they've had, sometimes like I drink alcohol, but sometimes I go out and I don't drink because I've driven or something like that. But someone's had loads of drinks and you're like, am I paying for those? Like, and you feel like at that point, I would still, if someone suggests split it, and I would probably say that keep the peace, and then you don't have to speak about money. And that is the thing, is that you are avoiding it at all costs. Pardon the pun. And then, yeah, I think, but there is always a back and forth, however close my friends are, we go, and it's like, no, like I spent more. And it's actually, everyone is like, no, like, let's do this. Oh, are you sure? And there's so much, because just so that we can not say, you know, I've spent this or I've got this much money.
It feels like a very British thing, doesn't it? Yeah. I feel like it's just, we're all like it for some reason.
Yeah.
And do you talk with your friends much about money? I mean, by the sounds of that, it just never comes up.
It doesn't come up. A lot of that, again, comes from school, I think. I think there was a lot of, I think because the school I went to was, it was just sort of like a comprehensive school. But in that you had some people who were really well off, or their parents were. And then you had some people who really, their families were really struggling. And it felt like the people that, I don't know if this was true, but there were the people that had a bit more were so like, they do not say how much money they have. And I remember someone in my year who got some quite expensive jewelry for Christmas or her birthday, and she hid it for like 3 years. She did not tell us she had this. And I don't blame her at all, because there was so much, if you said the wrong thing and it seemed like you were bragging, that was it. Like, you were disliked. And I think still now we worry about saying, oh, I've got loads of money, or I had a pay rise. Would never say, like, I think one of my friends I did a promotion in her last job, and like, she was like, yeah, no, it's a bit more money, but whatever. Like, we just don't want to say.
But it should be celebrated, right?
I know. And we won't, and we will not like celebrate someone having more money, because it feels like, well, what about the person who doesn't have as much? And I think also recently, because I've been sort of changing jobs and going freelance and things like that, it has come up in my conversations with my friends. But before I say anything, I'm like, I know I'm not like sort of not to talk about money, and we literally preempt it with that. And because it's come into the conversation of like, oh, I'm getting this much, or should get paid this much. And it's crazy how much I have to think. I promise I'm not sort of saying, oh, I'm having loads of money, or I haven't got any. You don't want to go either end of the spectrum. And something as well, not necessarily with friends, but I've realised lately is when I've been doing interviews for jobs, if loads of them don't advertise the salary on their website, it drives me mad.
It's a real pain point.
Yeah, it's like, how am I meant to know whether I want the job or not if it doesn't pay enough? But I've even been at the interviews and I can't ask them how much it pays.
What, you stop yourself, you mean?
Yeah, I just can't. They don't say, they probably should say, this is how much you're going to be paid. But when they say, oh, have you got any questions? In my head, it's like, how much will I be paid for this job? I can't say it. And weirdly, I can say it over sort of email and text, which is such a Gen Z thing that I can't say anything in person. But like, I'm picking up some freelance shifts for a company, and up until this point, I've known I'm doing those freelance shifts. We've been planning for months, and I've only just this week asked him, how much will I actually be paid for these?
Really?
Yeah.
That late in the day?
And it was over an email, and I've seen him in person loads of times, and I haven't been able to say, how much will I be paid? And it's like, I'd not expect, like, if he was like, oh, it's for free, I'd be like, absolutely not. But it's...
Well, there's a limit still, isn't there? If
yeah.
he says it's £10, you're not doing it for £10.
Yeah,
surely.
I did get offered something recently that was like below minimum wage. And I was like,
Right, really?
And even then, I didn't want to say, that's really bad. I was just like, okay, great, amazing. It's just like, I can't ask people, I can't talk about it.
It's a weird, like, money impasse, isn't it?
Yeah, but weirdly, I can talk about it over text.
Gen Z.
Yeah, 100%. It's so bad.
We've touched on your hatred for paying for water.
Oh, yeah.
We've touched on your pain points around buying clothes and things. But what do you think is the thing that pisses you off the most about money? I've had people talk to me a lot about things like Klarna.
Yeah,
and
I can't get into that.
Things like that.
It would be a nightmare.
Is there anything that annoys you the most? If it's water, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is, I know we have to pay for our bills, and I know things like that, but the trouble is, I'm not like a forward-thinking person. So when I look at my payslip and money's gone into my pension, I'm like, I'm not going to use that for years. I think it's things like that where I don't see any reward from it. I don't feel the same with taxes, because I'm like, that's going to, I mean, sometimes councils are like, where is my money going? But most of the time I'm like, I'll happily pay for the NHS and all the things like that. It's things like council tax, and I understand again that money is going towards things that are useful, but does it need to be that expensive? It's when I can't see a reward from it.
Yeah.
And things like insurance, again, I know we have to have things like this. But like, I drive and my car is like so expensive for things like insurance and car tax. I only found out that was a thing the other day. Like,
you only found out the car tax was a thing the other day.
I pay my dad the money and my dad does it, which
oh no
is, I need to take responsibility for that someday. But just stuff like that where I'm like, what am I paying for? And petrol, I spend so much on petrol, and I know I need to get around, but I do get like, where's it gone?
Yes.
It just disappears.
I'd have to say, in terms of insurance, you're definitely at the raw end of that, being 23.
Yeah.
It gets better, I promise you.
Okay.
It gets better, but still, it frustrates me as well.
Yeah.
It's so much. But it is what it is, right? You're insuring yourself against X, Y, and Z. And it's a legal requirement in the country, so that's another thing.
But you're like, oh, what if I never use it? Like, sort of things.
Well,
like
that does happen. Well, that's the ideal.
Yeah, exactly.
The ideal situation is you pay, hundreds of £1,000s for nothing. That's what you want to happen. It's mad.
That's just it sounds like such a weird system when you put it like that. God, I just don't want to pay for any insurance now. But I will. Yeah.
Poppy, this is not an advice podcast, but
I'm not giving any to anyone. Yeah.
Well, I am going to ask you for some.
Okay.
Because I kind of think that for a lot of people, the best advice you get is often from friends and family, people you know, everyday people. So based on your life experience, you already picked up on a few nuggets. There's definitely stuff we can take from your life experience. What is the one golden piece of advice that you would give to someone else? And this can be something someone else has given to you.
I think, and it's something I'm still trying to strike, is the balance between, I think it's you need to find where you sit in how you manage your money. So you can go, and there've been times where I've been so anxious about money and been so stingy, and not stingy, but careful with my money. But it's caused me so much anxiety, and it's not been like a happy time. It's been like, I can't buy nice things. And again, I have to say, I know people literally live their lives like that, and that is, a privileged thing to say. But equally, you see people who spend so much money on so many things, and you're like, you don't want to become like there was a thing on the news yesterday about shopping addiction, and there's people buying and it's people my age spending thousands of pounds, and that is borderline, that is becoming an addiction. They've been treating it with therapy, and I see all these different ends of the spectrum, and for me it's like, you need to work out where your boundaries are, even small things like, or sort of factual things. I have this much money, I can't spend, have a budget, but also just know that, I'm a bit like, to see how I feel. Like, I do everything by does it feel like I have loads of money, which isn't helpful. But just knowing like, okay, I can spend a bit more this month, or I shouldn't probably spend as much, but don't go to the extremes. I think that's the problem is, going out. If you're going to go out for a meal, go out and have the meal. Don't go and have a starter and a tap water. Like, I've been there, and it's, when you have the money and you're just like, I just shouldn't spend another 50p. Don't, because you just won't enjoy yourself. You earn money, you can enjoy it, but also don't go to the other extreme.
So find your middle ground.
Yeah, and just know where because that's different for every person, and people have different things that they like to spend their money on. Like, some people go on a lovely holiday, but would be quite frugal when they're at home. Other people don't go on holiday but have a really nice life at home. So decide what you want to spend your money on.
And make sure you check your banking app regularly.
Yeah, I guess.
Poppy, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
It's okay.